Hello, I'm Daniela. In today's video, we're going to slow stitch a mood board. This is a fun way to use different fabrics that you have in your stash, ribbons and other trims, things that you want to create a theme with. In today's video, I'm going to show you how I create a feminine mood board, but there are other themes you can use. Now, in most of my videos, at the end of the video, I'll show variations on the theme. Well, in this video, it's a little different, and I'm going to show you the variations to begin with, just to give you an idea of the way you can change it up or make the mood board personal to you. Now, I like to incorporate an interactive element into my mood boards, and by that I mean something that you can touch and feel and play with. So maybe it's a pocket with something tucked in the pocket, or it's a little fabric curtain that you can move around. There might be something behind it, there might not be. It's just for texture. Or it might be a swatch of fabrics, kind of like in upholstery books. It's just something very tactile and interesting. In today's video, I'm not going to do any of those. I'm going to make a little belly band and tuck something in that. And I can't wait to show you my process. So let's get started.
Normally I show variations on the project at the end of the video, but for today's video, I think it's important to show some variations first off. Now, all of these techniques can be found on previous videos that I've already posted, but sometimes seeing them in a different format is enlightening or might inspire you in different ways. So here's one example of a mood board, and this is just blue. So I went through my stash and I found all this fabric that had blue in it, or maybe had the complementary of blue, which is orange. And I created this piece, and I just love it. I have the blue border, which is just blue fabric that I adhered to the bottom and the top. I didn't even sew this one down. I made a little rosette that was blue. I have orange trim. Some of the fabric has little orange in it. And if you notice, it kind of makes a triangle here with the orange. I have this little interactive curtain because I think it's important to have something interactive on the mood board, even if it's just for you. You can show people it, and I'm sure they'll be drawn to touch it and to see the movement and whatnot, or maybe you can hide something underneath there. But it's also important for you to make something just beautiful that you enjoy. I have some text stitched here with the word blue, and I felt like I needed to have a little indicator of motion, and the car was a perfect way to do that. So I took these pieces of fabric and cut them out, and I adhered them down, and then I just embellished them with some stitching. Here I used orange stitching, here black, and I'm really pleased with this. I echoed some colors, so I have all different shades of blue, from navy to indigo, and so on, even a lighter blue. Now on this one, the mood was Halloween. So instead of going with a color or a feeling, I added two interactive elements, a little swatch of fabric, which I just think is lovely. I love looking through swatches of fabric for upholstery or anything like that. So this is just indicative of it. And this is all just Halloween fabrics. I have a little Halloween swatch, which I added some more colors to, some stitching. And then I have a pocket, a little charm on the pocket, some more stitching. Then I have just a little plastic bone. I thought that was adorable. And a feather that I wrapped, and I stuck a little dreadfully wicked text on it. So these are my little treasures for interactive here inside this pocket. And I stitched on the edge. I also had this felt cutout of a black skeleton. So I stitched bones onto him and then just threw in some colors and some florals to make him fun. So that's another example. Today's demo is going to be a little different. It's not going to be Halloween, and it's not going to be blue. So let me show you the supplies I'm going to use, and then my process for creating it. For today's mood board, I wanted to go with a theme of feminine. So I have lots of little pretty eyelet trim, some little paper buttons that I made. I'll include the link for this. A little heart made of little leftover threadlings. Include the link for that. A fabric bead, a little decal on a piece of fabric, a little swatch here. I think it's adorable. I have some different trim, some pink velvet ribbon trim here, some pink ribbon, a button, this little wooden shape, little flower, which I thought was pretty feminine, a little silk flower. I might use that as well. And then these little ribbon flowers. These are little clusters that are on a little sticker, but they come off quite easily, and just a few stitches would hold it down. I just think that's so beautiful. I also have some fabric that I searched around for, pinks and greens and whites, and this will be lovely for creating my piece. This is approximately 8.5 by 11 inches. It's just a piece of heavyweight muslin. It's a great backing piece. So to start with, I like to build out and work my way in. The first thing I'll do is create the border. I think I'm going to use this velvet ribbon. It'll be perfect for adding to the top and the bottom. And I like to add it so that I fold it over, and just with a few stitches or even some fusible adhesive, I can hold it in place. So let's get started creating that. So I like to just cut 2 pieces of this ribbon. This is just velvet ribbon that I bought for Valentine's Day. It's not expensive velvet at all. It's very stiff, but I like it. I love the color, and I do like that it adds a little texture. So all I'm going to do is just finger press it by folding it in half. And I'm going to choose to leave the sides of my piece raw. You don't have to. If you like the finished look of finished edges, go ahead and finish those yourself. But I'm just going to fold the top here, just like this, and pin it in place. And you can see on the back, it looks just like the front. And then I'm going to do the same thing to the top. Couldn't be simpler. I just fold the ribbon in half because it's a nice thick ribbon. If it wasn't so thick, I would just use it straight across, just like that. But I like that folded edge. I just think it gives a little something extra to the piece. Now from here, I'm going to take some thread that matches that pink, and I'm just going to stitch little stitches. I'm going to hide my knot by going in the center here, tucking the tail of the thread and just making little stitches. I like to work my way out to the edge. And then I'll continue stitching the length here. And then with another piece of thread, I'll stitch the length up here. So I've stitched the 2 pieces, the top and the bottom, down, just with little stitches. On the back, you can see the stitches are longer than on the front. And now I'm just going to trim them, just so it matches top and bottom. And this little trim really makes it come to life, I think. So now I want to start creating my little mood board. First thing I like to do is start with my interactive element. Now that could be a pocket, it could be a little curtain. I'm going to make a little holder for this series of paper buttons, like a belly band. I just got to figure out where I want to put it. I think I'll put it right here like this. And I'll use this light pink ribbon. I'll create 2 little bands from the top to the bottom so that I can slide in and out this little piece. So I'll cut 2 pieces, and I kind of just figure this out as I go. And so my little card that holds the buttons is approximately this big. So I need my little ribbons be a little bit larger, but not so much larger. So I'm just going to put 2 little dots here and here, and that's where I'm going to start stitching these ribbons. So I'll just fold it maybe 1 inch or 1/2 inch and tack it down on the bottom here. And I'll do that for both of the ribbons. So I have it in place. I have some thread that matches. Just want to make sure it lines up properly. And now I'll just stitch down maybe just an X here. And I'm stitching through all the layers, the folded ribbon as well as the background. And then I'll do the same thing over here with this other piece. I'll trim it just so it lays flat. So I've knotted the thread on the back, and now I'm ready to just decide how large I need to make it to fit this in. And I have to have a little give so that it slides, but not so much give that it's loose. So I think to approximately here is good. So I'll trim this down just a little bit more. Fold that over. Right to there. And now I'll stitch this in place. So now I'll do the same thing with the other piece here. Again, there's a little bit of give underneath it, but not too much. Holding it in place and stitching that X up top. So now this should fit this pretty well. And it does. So that's great. I've got my little belly band there to showcase this. Now I want to work on the rest of the pieces here. So I look through my little stash, and I think I'm going to start with my fabric. So I have these beautiful fabrics. I'll set this stuff aside. And I really want to use the fabrics thoughtfully. So I have this piece here. I'll tuck it in because it helps me to design. And then see what I want to do here. I really like this color. Ooh, I really like this. And maybe this. So I'll make a series of swatches, maybe that overlap. I'll cut some fabric to different shapes. It's all about trial and error. So I have that shape. I think I'll cut a few more fabrics this shape, maybe a little smaller, see what I can come up with. So I have these 3 fabrics. I think I kind of like this green in the middle. I think I'll just cut it down and overlap the shapes. And maybe just do a burrow stitch. So I'll just do a running stitch up and down the piece. And let's see, what color should I use for the running stitch? I think I'll use that beautiful green. So let me trim these down to get the right shape and size that I want. And now I'll just overlap these pieces. And now I just want to make a running stitch up and down the length of this little piece I have here. I'm going to start in the center with my green thread. So I'll start at the bottom here. And now I'll just create a running stitch. And again, this fabric is sliding into different positions, so I think I might need another pin just to hold it in place. And now for a running stitch, I'm going to stick my needle through the fabric. So I've stitched the burrow stitch over here. It adds a lovely textural element to the piece. I have my little belly band over there, and now I want to start filling in the areas. I think up top I'm going to put this lace going all the way the length of the top. I think that will look really cute. Then maybe I can embellish it either with these or with something here, and that leaves me with a little open area. So let me add this piece. I'm just going to stitch it with some white thread just across the top, and then we can come back and I can decide how to embellish it. So I've attached this little swatch here. It looks so precious. I think I'm going to take a few of these. I'm not sure if I'll do 1 or if I'll do 3. Oh, that's kind of cute. Yeah, I think I'll do 3. And so I'm just going to add a few stitches to hold them in place, spaced evenly there. And now when this is in place here, it's starting to come together, but I still want to do something down the center here. I think I'm going to stitch maybe some cross stitches just up and down the center here. And I can decide if I want to leave this blank or if I want to put something in there. So I'll attach those pieces, add a few cross stitches, and develop it further. And this is the process that I go through when creating this mood board. One thing seems to lead to another, and that's the fun of it. So now this is mostly done. I do have a little bit of empty space here. I think I want to put this right there. So I'll stitch that into place. And then I think it'll be done. I can even maybe add some stitches here. Maybe some green stitches here just to coordinate. So I'll finish that and we'll take a look. So those are the 3 mood boards. I'll pull this closer so you can take a look. You can see all the different textures here from the stitches, the echoing of the colors. It's very feminine. I'm very pleased with it. It's a little different than all of them, but I like having an assortment of these mood boards. I love all these little interactive elements here. The swatches, the belly band, the little ruffle is even interactive in its own way. The pocket, and these little curtains here. I like the use of text. I didn't use any text in this one, but it's certainly an intriguing look. And depending on your mood and your supplies, it'll always look different.
So that's how I make my slow stitching mood board. It's a fun process. It uses up fabric and trims and lace that you have and you love, but you're not really sure what to do with. And you can combine them in different ways, maybe some unexpected ones. You might see a particular theme emerging from your supplies, and this is a great way to use it. If you found this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up and be sure to subscribe. And please consider becoming a paid member of my channel, where I give behind-the-scenes footage, a little glimpse into my personal life, and additional techniques. Thanks for joining me today.